Welcome to Retro Glitch. If you grew up in the 90s, you know the feeling, that click of the power button, the flash of the Nintendo logo, and the rush of music that meant it's game time, back when controllers had wires. Saturday mornings were for cartoons, and afternoons were for button mashing side by side with your best friend. These games weren't just pixels, they were our adventures, from brawling through city streets to saving the world in two-player mode. The beat-em-ups of the 90s defined our childhood. So grab your controller, take a seat on the carpet, and get ready to relive the glory days. Because today, on Retro Glitch, we're counting down the top 10 beat-em-up games on Nintendo from the 1990s. Let's press start and jump back in time. Number 10, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Released in 1994 for the Super Nintendo, you could almost hear that's Morphin time echo across living rooms back then. This game let every 90s kid live their dream, playing as their favorite Ranger, punching through waves of enemies, and facing massive boss battles straight out of the show. The colors popped, the music rocked, and every move felt powerful, especially those finishing blows that made you feel unstoppable. Sure, it wasn't the hardest game, but it captured the spirit of the Power Rangers perfectly. Teamwork, energy, and total Saturday morning excitement. For every kid who ran around with a plastic sword yelling, "Go, go, Power Rangers!" This game was magic. Number 9. Batman Returns, released in 1993 for the Super Nintendo. This wasn't just another movie tie-in. This was Gotham, perfectly brought to life. Konami took the dark tone of Tim Burton's film and turned it into one of the most cinematic beat-em-ups on the SNES. From snow-covered streets to gritty back alleys, every punch and throw felt powerful, especially when you grabbed to enemies and slammed them together like a true Dark Knight. The atmosphere, the music, the visuals, it all made you feel like Batman in a way no other game at the time could. For 90s kids, this was more than a game. It was a chance to become their favorite hero. Number 8. Battletoads and Double Dragon, the Ultimate Team. Released in 1993 for both the NES and Super Nintendo. Back in the day, crossovers weren't just cool, they were mind-blowing. Seeing Billy and Jimmy Lee team up with the Battletoads felt like your action figure collection had come to life. The game was wild, mutant enemies, space levels, hover bikes, and that legendary difficulty that tested every inch of your patience and skill. Whether you played it on the NES or the upgraded SNES version, one thing was the same, that feeling of let's do this. Every time you hit start with a friend. For 90s kids, it wasn't just about beating the game. It was about proving you were tough enough to survive it. Number 7. Spider-Man and Venom, Maximum Carnage. Released in 1994 for the Super Nintendo. This game didn't just play like a comic book. It looked like one. Every panel, every punch, every swing through the city felt pulled straight from the pages of Marvel's most iconic crossover. And that red cartridge, pure collector gold. You could feel the energy, the pounding soundtrack, the sharp combat, and that rush of teaming up as Spider-Man or Venom to take down Carnage and his gang of villains. For so many of us, this was the first time a superhero game truly felt alive, fast, chaotic, and totally awesome. If you had this cartridge in your SNES back in the day, you knew you were in for something special. Number 6. Captain Commando. Released in 1995 for the Super Nintendo. If there's one word that sums up this game, it's style. Capcom's futuristic beat-em-up dropped us into Metro City, the same world as Final Fight, but turned the dial all the way up. Robots, ninjas, cyborg mummies, and even a baby piloting a mech suit. It was wild, over the top, and everything a 90s gamer could ask for. The combat was slick, the animation smooth, and the characters unforgettable. Whether you were smashing through enemies as Captain himself, or flying across the screen with Ginzu the Ninja. It felt like you were playing inside a Saturday morning cartoon. For anyone who loved that arcade chaos, Captain Commando on SNES was pure sci-fi beat-em-up bliss. Number 5. Mighty Final Fight. Released in 1993 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, by the early 90s, the NES was nearing the end of its life, but Capcom had one more knockout left for it. Mighty Final Fight took the gritty, street-fighting world of Final Fight and gave it a clever twist, smaller sprites, bigger personality. Hager, Cody, and Guy all returned, but this time in chibi form, throwing punches with that signature Capcom style. What made it special wasn't just its humor, it was how smooth and satisfying it played, proving the NES could still pack a punch in the 16-bit era. For kids who hadn't yet upgraded to a Super Nintendo, Mighty Final Fight was proof that the old school still had some serious fight left in it. Number 4. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3: The Manhattan Project. Released in 1991 for the NES, before Turtles in Time blew up on the Super Nintendo. This was the game every TMNT fan was playing at home. Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael, back in action, fighting foot soldiers across beaches, streets, and even the skies over Manhattan. The controls were tight, the animations crisp, and each turtle had their own unique moves, something rare for NES beat-em-ups at the time. For kids of the early 90s, this game was more than just a brawler, it was an after-school ritual. Friends on the couch, controllers tangled, pizza boxes nearby. It didn't get more 90s gaming than that. TMNT 3. The Manhattan Project wasn't just a game, it was a slice of childhood heroism. Number 3. The King of Dragons. Released in 1994 for the Super Nintendo, not every beat-em-up was about dark alleys and street fights. Some took us to magical kingdoms, and the King of Dragons was one of the best. Capcom blended fantasy, RPG elements, and classic arcade combat into one unforgettable adventure. You could play as a fighter, an elf, a wizard, or even a cleric, leveling up, finding treasures, and battling massive bosses straight out of a storybook. It wasn't just button mashing, it felt like a quest. For 90s kids, the King of Dragons was that moment you realized a beat-em-up could feel epic, like you were saving the world, one combo at a time. Number to the Ninja Warriors again. Released in 1994 for the Super Nintendo. Few games from the 90s looked or felt as cool as this one. You played as deadly cyborg ninjas, slicing through an army of soldiers, tanks, and machines, all backed by one of the most unforgettable SNES soundtracks ever made. Every strike felt sharp, every move had weight, and every explosion echoed with that unmistakable 16-bit power. With its incredible animation and atmospheric design, the Ninja Warriors again proved that beat-em-ups could be stylish, cinematic, and deeply satisfying. For 90s kids, it wasn't just another action game. It was that hidden gem you bragged about to your friends who didn't know it existed. Number 1. Double Dragon 2: The Revenge. Released in 1990 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, this is where it all came together. The story, the music, the combat, the heart. Billy and Jimmy Lee returned, this time fighting not just for honor, but for revenge. Every punch, every spin kick carried weight, and that two-player co-op defined what it meant to team up with a friend back in the day. The streets, the enemies, that final showdown. It wasn't just another NES game. It was legendary. For countless 90s kids, Double Dragon 2 was our introduction to what pure, arcade-style action really felt like. Simple, raw, and unforgettable. Those were the days, late nights, glowing screens, and the sound of buttons mashing as we tried to beat that one last boss. Thanks for watching, Retro Warriors. If this trip down memory lane brought back some of your childhood memories, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Retro Glitch, and ring the bell for more classic gaming nostalgia.